I'm Father Mark Mary with Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. We're going to talk about raising the bar, raising our expectations, giving ourselves true expectations of ourselves so you can live your best life, right? And so you can untap your potential, whatever you want to talk about it, but in like a Catholic way. And here's how we're going to look at it. We're going to diagnose the problem, and then we're going to give the medicine. I'm going to ask you to stick with me though, because usually we just want the medicine. It's like, I don't care what's wrong, just make it go away. Talking about some of the issue though, it's going to help us understand the problem and value the remedy and really sort of give ourselves over to the remedy. And I want to look at it using Romans chapter 12. So this is the issue. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind so that you may judge what is good and pleasing and perfect. Okay, the problem is conformity to the world. The remedy is renewal of our minds, right? So this is what we're going to talk about. So here's the issue. I'm going to give you an image, and it's a silly image, but I think it's like it makes a ton of sense. So I want you to pretend that you're at a park. You're at some public park, and you're at a little table. You got a little wood sort of picnic table, and you have a balloon. The balloon has this like helium in it, right? And this is going to represent you. And it's got this 4-foot string, okay? This balloon, the string, every 6 inches, there's a piece of tape taping it down to the table. And then you got your little air in the balloon just sort of kind of resting on the table. And this is your soul at baptism, right? At baptism, grace comes in and there's life in it and the breath of the Spirit fills us. And we feel pretty good. Good, we got some air in our balloon. Now here's the thing. This is where conformity to the world comes in, is as you look around like everywhere in this park, all you see are busted balloons. Maybe there's a few others kind of scattered that has some air in it, but for the most part, like it's really hard to see any balloons that aren't busted balloons. And so what's going to happen is you see this whole park filled with balloons without any air on it. You're gonna be like, dang, my balloon's pretty good. I guess I got air in my balloon. I'm rocking it. I'm doing way better than everybody else. And so this is the idea. It's like, you know what? Cool. Like, yeah, I'm going to mass on Sunday. Usually I avoid mortal sin, or I kind of care. I believe most of what the church teaches, things like that. And then you look around and you're like, well, and look at this, man. Like everybody else is a disaster. I'm doing pretty good. The problem with this is not, you're not just supposed to be called to be doing a little bit better than everybody else who doesn't believe, right? Or who doesn't practice. You're called to allow Christ to live his life in you. You're called to be a saint. And here's the spiritual life, like, right? Every 6 inches, we have this piece of tape on this string for the balloon. It's like, as you start to root out sin, as you start to surrender to the fullness of the Catholic faith, and as you start to live it and implement it, like slowly but surely, you start practicing chastity, boom, a piece of tape, and now you're a little bit higher. You start doing works of charity, boom, another piece of tape. You start really entering into meditative prayer, boom, another piece of tape. And your balloon, it starts getting higher and higher and higher. And it's like, but there's this one piece of tape left, okay? Now, again, for everybody else looking at you who have like struggling balloons or balloons that don't have any air in it, they're gonna be like, wow, you're such a good Catholic. You're so holy. And you look around and you're like, yeah, you know what? Dang, I'm doing pretty good. My brothers and sisters, this is who you're called to be, and this is who the saints are. The saints are those who remove that last piece of tape. The saints are those who've given Jesus everything. And what happens? What happens as you remove that last piece of tape on this string to the balloon to this table is it soars. It flies. And this is St. Francis, and this is St. Clare, and this is St. Augustine, and this is St. Monica, and this is Padre Pio, and this is Therese, and Teresa, and John Paul II, and Pier Giorgio Frassati. These are men and women who have given surrendered themselves totally to the Lord. And now they're not just like doing pretty good. They're flying. They're flying to the heights of holiness. And my brothers and sisters, that is who you are called to be. Someone who soars to the heights of holiness, who allows Christ to live his life in you. How do we do this? Be not conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, so that you may judge what is good and pleasing and perfect. What we do is we stop measuring our lives based on how other people are doing, and we look at Christ, and we look at the Word of God, and we look at the lives of the saints, which are these like authoritative commentaries on the Word of God, on what the life of Jesus fully lived looks like in these different circumstances. And so here's a little examine for you. Like, do you know more about athletes, sports, celebrities, politics than the Word of God, than the teachings of the church, than the lives of the saints? If so, okay, that's where you are. And we want to start making these little journeys though, because like if we focus on Christ, if we become fascinated with Jesus, and we allow the saints to be our guides, we're going to live differently. We're going to live differently. My brothers and sisters, you are not called for mediocrity. You are called for great sanctity and holiness. You're not called to be this little string with some air on it that's just a couple feet above the table. You are made to soar the heights of holiness. And here's the thing, like the difference matters. The difference matters. And the more in which we allow Christ into our lives, like that matters. The world is hungry for Christ, and he wants to break into the world through you and I. So my brothers and sisters, the invitation is this. The action step, the remedy, the medicine is this, is let's begin again. Let's make new commitment to immerse ourselves in the Word of God, to sit with the Gospels every day, to become fascinated with the person of Jesus, and to allow him to live his life in us. And secondly is this, it's like, let's get into the saints. Let's allow the lives of the saints to challenge us. Let's allow the lives of the saints to raise the bar. And we're not just trying to be okay. We're not just trying to be pretty good. We're trying to be saints. We're trying to be saints, and we're trying to be totally given over to the Lord, who totally gave himself for us. So my brothers and sisters, we thank you for watching. We thank you for watching. I thank you for being renewed and praying with the Word of God so that grace can transform you by the renewal of your mind. And I thank you for picking up these lives of the saints and allowing them to reform your expectations. We are pilgrims on the earth, somos peregrinos, little by little, poco a poco. So thank you for watching. We're pilgrims on this earth, somos peregrinos, poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it. We'll see you next week. God bless.